Back in 10 seconds.
Somebody in the chat is like, in honor of Lando Norris, they should
We
start the stream before time, stop,
we
and then start again.
no
Are we
we
live?
are live. We are
Oh,
live. We
just
are.
made it.
You have just made it. Hello. Can you see us?
Hello.
Can you hear us? Can you do all of those things? Are we audible, edible? All of
Sorry,
those
guys,
things
we
as
jumped the
usual.
start, so that's why we won.
We jumped the start. We jumped the start, and Azim made it in at the last second, just
I
like
was hoping
Ollie Bearman.
to do a. I was hoping to get a 10-second
Yeah.
penalty as a tribute to Kevin Magnussen.
Also, want to point out that today, for the first time since the history of the stream's inception, Shehzad Shroff was the last person to join the call.
Yeah.
Just proving
Wow.
that, like,
Oh,
ever
shit.
since Lewis news broke, the spiral has not yet in any way concluded. That said, hello friends, how are we? How are we feeling about the first two races of this season? I
Wow,
think
what an unpredictable result, right?
I, for one,
Nobody
sir,
could-
am shocked and stunned
What a shock.
at the fact that he is only 9 seconds ahead of the rest of the field.
Cumulative
What a
31 if we're to go across two races.
Right. Yeah.
So I think
What a
by the
shocker,
end of the
guys.
season, he will be one race ahead. You know?
Yeah, one
Yeah.
race distance.
By race 24.
Yeah, I think the last race, everybody has to just race for second place. Like, he doesn't have to show up, like, by law.
Anyways, they don't show him anymore, so it's like he's not there only.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
you think Red Bull का जो team sponsors है on the car, they
Yeah.
must be complaining कि bro क्या है ये?
क्या
हम लोग
है?
तो गाड़ी ही नहीं दिखा रहे तुम लोग.
Yeah, yeah.
What is this?
I think soon the main sponsors will move to the V-Carb team because they're on camera a lot.
Yeah.
They're on camera a lot.
Yeah.
Usually, like, among other cars also. So they're popping.
You know, I think
Yeah.
how Red Bull usually change the driver mid-season, I think, and go move one from B team to A team. Now they're going to be moving sponsors from B team to A team
For better
and A team
visibility.
For better visibility.
Sponsor promoted to V-Carb. One sponsor on Danny's wrist only. Directly, most visible. But I
Ouch.
actually have a suggestion to F1 TV Pro, where I think they can offer an F1 TV Pro if they offer a separate feed that makes it see. They never show Verstappen, okay?
Yeah.
So you just
Yeah.
edit him out of it entirely. There's no camera angle
Yeah.
on him. There's nothing, and you have a separate leaderboard graphic where
I'm
it
sure
starts
I
from
can do
one
this
for
too.
everybody else. And I think that will make a lot of money.
Yes. I'm
And
happy
Code,
to-
if you're listening.
Yes, fan code.
how
Come
you do
on,
it.
make it happen. This is how you do it.
Yeah.
Give people the experience they want, fan
This is
code.
this is
them the
F1 TV, F1 TV bro. This is what
Yes.
it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, how are we feeling? How are we feeling about the first two races of the season? Feel free to start anywhere. Oh, things have happened to Azim's camera.
Yeah, I was
Azim
like,
has vanished.
that?
Azim has vanished. Azim is back.
We are
Azim is
checking.
back.
Checking.
Azim is back. Went for a quick appendicitis operation and returned. How are we feeling? How are we feeling about the first two races of the season?
Well,
just
I mean,
very bored.
yeah. What do we
Yeah.
say? The on-track action
Uh.
really pales in comparison to the off-track action this year. You know, there seems to be a lot more happening, exciting in the build-up to the race and after the race than during the race itself.
Max's three dads are fighting, basically, is what I've realized.
Yeah,
If I had
yeah.
to, for anybody who's just joining us, what you've missed is while Max is crushing it on track, at Red Bull Racing, Max's three dads are fighting. To sum up what's happened so far, guys, feel free to jump in. What I will say is this, what feels like 6 years ago, but was in reality only a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
these bombshell texts about Christian Horner were dropped to the media, and there was this sort of investigation by Red Bull Racing and by Red Bull overall into Christian Horner's sort of alleged inappropriate relationship with an employee. They conducted an investigation. They came out and said that, we've cleared him of impropriety. The next day, an email goes out with a bunch of, again, I'm going to use air quotes, alleged chat, because we do not have the editorial ability here to in any way fact check any of this. I'm going to use the
Yeah.
word allegedly a lot here. And basically the sort of folder of information got. Interestingly, they go out to like the essentially what would be the ultimate F1 who's who / media mailing
Mail
list,
thread.
like mail
Yeah,
thread,
exactly.
right? They
Yeah.
go out that way. A couple of days after that happens, obviously, all sorts of accusations flying. Suddenly, statements are being
The rumor
made in
mill
the
is
media.
about.
The rumor mill is all over the place. Statements are being made by Jos Verstappen to the effect of, I don't know if Horner can stick around. Again, I would like to say Jos Verstappen is saying that other people's behavior is not appropriate with people, and that he should
But
be...
is this actually Jos Verstappen has said, or this is alleged
he
to have
has.
said?
No, he has apparently said this.
He's
He has
made a
Said
apparently
statement.
also,
said
and
this,
they've like asked Max about it and all.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
and said
Yeah.
that things can't go on this way and so on, like
Exactly.
implying that Horner should leave.
Yes, or should be put into the back of a van and then left outside a petrol station to think about what
As
he did
punishment, yeah.
as punishment. On the other side, there's also this whole other rumor mill speculation going on that the leaker was again big fat air quotes and allegedly that the leaks possibly came from plot twist Dr. Helmut Marko. Okay,
Yeah.
what? All right. Apparently, Dadaji's been sort of the puppet master this whole time.
Yeah.
And now he is
Apparently, he's great at spotting young drivers and also Photoshop and memes. And
apparently, you know, when I think Photoshop king, I think
Helmut
that
Marko.
Helmut Marko, you know, he's a real cutting edge lad.
Just when I read it only, I was like, where? I don't think this guy is capable of taking a screenshot, let alone sharing it, you know,
It's
at this age.
and where we stand right now is there's sort of accusations and counter accusations, and there seems to
But
be a
because
very
of this,
slow,
the rumor mill has like
been
really
crazy,
blown
and there's
up
like
and,
all
like,
sorts of rumors of
Wow.
long knives happening at Red Bull, which
and
has-
like Verstappen
And if
going
he
to
leaves,
Hamilton to
apparently
Mercedes.
Max has a clause that lets him leave if he leaves. And
Which actually brings me straight to Sherry Schroff, which means that the rumor mill has gone so far as to say Max Verstappen to Mercedes,
yeah.
on which I would like to get your thoughts.
I mean, he's more than welcome. I'm out of there next year.
Oh, wow.
He's Scarlet inside already.
Yeah, wow.
Scarlet.
Wow.
Wow. See, there are
but
two
I don't
plastic
think
fans on the
that's-
stream now.
Oh my god.
I-
Oh, ouch.
I think it's all just like this drama to get a better deal from like Red Bull with him. As far as he's concerned, I don't think he's going to leave that car because obviously he's got the best car on the grid, and I mean anyone would. Why would you do that at this point, right? I mean,
Yeah. Why would he quit? What is he,
and,
Alpine technical staff?
I think this is all just a tactic where either they're all to one side and Horner is on the other side, and they're all trying to get rid of Horner now, including Max, possibly, where he can't go out and say it, but he's doing it through these routes where he also made a statement that Marco should definitely stay, which is a clear mark of, okay, I'm on this side. And if he goes, I'm out. And so I think, I mean, they know that obviously he is currently the biggest guy in this sport right now. And I mean, if we're using him and he's threatening to leave, there's obviously, that chance of whatever. And everyone else is just lapping it up because they're all getting traction out of it. And they're like, acha, very good. Ha, idhar bhi aao, idhar bhi aao, idhar bhi aao. But I mean, realistically, why would he leave? I mean, it just makes no sense. And I just feel like
Anything can happen. Look, we
anything
all
can
thought Lewis
happen, but
Hamilton was
I
going to be
feel-
at Mercedes
I
forever.
feel at this point, this is all basically, we need Horner out, and basically everybody's making noises in the only way they can to kind of be like, I don't know, somehow, even if you hear Horner's messages on the radio to Max in the last two races, there's a difference in his tone, there's a difference
feels a
in the
little
vibe.
muted.
It feels a bit muted and just formal and just like, yeah, well done. There isn't that.
But it's also
Um,
because they're winning by like 40 seconds and all. No? So, I mean, how to be
Yeah,
excited?
How much is
Come,
this
get in
us?
there, Max.
How much is
Yes,
this
right.
us reading into
If
this
you
now?
compare it to
Yeah,
last
it
year,
could
he's
be.
seeming very like,
I think this whole thing, this whole thing revolves around Max Verstappen, seemingly, right?
Yeah.
But this is how much this kid is affected. That, like, apparently, before the race at 3 a.m. on Friday, he was on Twitch and he
Doing
was
iRacing,
sim
yeah.
racing. Like, this is how much of a T1000 type of character we are dealing with in Max Verstappen, that none of this phases him in the least,
Dude, forget
and
all of that. I was just
yeah,
watching the Twitch stream where this guy
yeah,
is playing iRacing, the most hardcore
yeah,
racing
yeah.
simulator
He's
possible,
playing on controller.
on a controller in the wet on
Yeah.
slick tires and has no expression on his face. Like, yeah, ye to chalo theek hai, it's normal, just another day at work.
So, I
That's
mean,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, I mean, Max also seems to be driven by some really very core principles, maybe, which is why he's like so determined at racing. So, I think anything could happen, honestly. Like, this sport is
But
so
what do you
weird.
guys think his core principles are? Are they Windows? Are they Macintosh? Or do you
Oh,
think he's running
He's more
Linux.
Linux, I
He's
think. Yeah.
Linux, you think?
Linux,
Yeah.
Linux.
Yeah.
He needs to have a
Definitely.
bespoke solution,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't do off-the-shelf stuff, dude.
Also, the bigger question to ask is why are, Max and gang so invested in getting Horner out? Like, what
But
is...
do we know for sure that they actually are? Because I mean, to me,
It
this is
seems
seeming
like that. I
this
mean,
is seeming like very.
allegedly, allegedly, if that's the situation, my question is, like, what is their connection to this woman, and how are they so involved in the situation? And that, because it's just seeming so hushed up that it's very like odd, like the way
Yeah,
these
it's like it's fodder for speculative fiction
happened,
around
and
everything.
it's
Yeah.
very like, yeah, exactly. And like, like now the woman has been suspended, which makes absolutely no sense in the scenario, with zero explanation from, again, the teams of why, how, what is
Yeah.
happening. And then suddenly you have Horner walking in with his wife hand in hand, and it's all seeming very staged from all angles, which I I get, obviously, yeah, as a team, they probably don't want to let go of a team principal who's obviously got them, so many championships and so on.
Their only ever team principal.
Yeah. But then why are like these three people so invested in the opposite direction is what,
I think Rohan and I are thinking the same thing, which is we are like 14 minutes into this stream about the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix and Bahrain Grand Prix, and we have not once talked about the Saudi Arabian
But
Grand
You
Prix.
know what though?
about-
You know what though,
Yeah,
Arjun? That's because I can
Yeah.
wind back to the start of the stream if you want. Go back and start.
Yeah.
And I asked,
Yeah.
how do we feel about the
Feel
first
about
two
the race.
races? Hang on. I want to point out, in a sport that is about precision machines going really fast, the first two words were, well, I mean, and it's so boring. Those were the first 5 words about the first 2 races of the season.
Yeah.
So it is utterly unsurprising to me that this is what we have spent our time. But okay, here then now is a question to the three of you. Okay?
Yeah.
We've spent the last 3 minutes talking about how Max Verstappen is essentially some sort of robot. Now on the other side, he's also thrown his lot in behind, say, allegedly thrown his lot in behind Helmut Marko. Because, and yes, there is allegedly this clause that lets him leave if Marco leaves. But again, given that we said that this guy is a robot and all of this is happening, what makes a robot? Like, let's say tomorrow, for whatever reason, Red Bull wakes up and says, Helmut Marko, gone. Like, he will just no longer be here. Do we really think that this person who has so far displayed complete pragmatism about everything in his racing career would now, for that reason, move to any other car, which is with any other car would be a significant downgrade. Okay, he's seen it. All the cars that he can move to are not even in his rearview mirror. Okay, wherein, like, if Aditya were here, you'd have said everything is to catch Perez. Right? He's not even seeing Perez. Okay, so if he really is that pragmatic, do you think that's a thing that he would do, or is this more likely to just be like a sort of throw-in of emotional support? Because I don't know. I mean, whatever. Yes, he might be right, but it's a ruthless sport, yeah. And would he really go to the distant at this point, at this season, if you want to talk about the first 2 races, to bring that in, what is clearly the 3rd best car on the grid at this point? Not even the 2nd, 3rd, arguably 4th.
Maybe the 4th.
Arguably 4th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where does he go? Where does he go, and does he do this?
So just to like for me, I think this entire controversy to me seems like very F1 equivalent of Stephen Hawking in Epstein Island kind of thing, where it has started with one report and then become memes have taken it somewhere completely else.
Yeah, true,
It
true.
just nobody knows what the actual truth is anymore. Um,
Yeah.
but the fact that like everybody in the team and racing wise, everybody seems to be on their game.
Yeah.
I don't think it seems to have any impact on them at
On
all.
them at all, yeah.
So, and also the larger thing is, I don't think Max ka itna issue rahega. Maybe if at all this thing is going to come from his dad, and his dad being like, listen, okay, now Helmet Chacha is gone, so now we can't stay here. So now it's like typical. It's gas station all over again. Do you choose Red Bull or do you choose me?
You think David Bearman has this like power dad F1 vibe that he's aiming for? Ollie Bearman's dad, who was like,
Yeah.
he had way more screen time than
But then
was
you can
necessary.
never say, yeah. Like, I mean, we were in the same boat with Lewis and Mercedes, and I mean, even earlier with Lewis even coming into Mercedes, it was all because of Nicky and his, apparently the what brought him in or whatever. So I feel like there's always that, you have to kind of factor in, these relationships, because I guess there are relationships that make people, change teams, leave, or it could just be one little thing, right? Like, I mean, in the Mercedes case, like allegedly, again, everyone's saying they didn't want to give him ambassadorship, and then that's something he was offered, and he was like, okay, you know what, great, I'm going there. And none of us ever thought it was going to happen. So, like, I don't know, we have obviously rule changes coming up. You don't know what's being promised in the future, what is the thought process, or how vital also Marco is to this equation now, like in reality for him, in terms of his racing career and so on. So yeah, it seems like there's a lot of chatter going on for either to get Horner out or to get a better deal or whatever. But I would still say you never really know. I mean, like, because we've seen this.
Okay, now I'm just gonna be that guy, and I'm going to sound like a d-bag when I say this. Okay, but in the most cutthroat sport in the world, which, with all due respect, is filled with some of the most dubious types. Okay, let's just be real about it. Filled with some of the most dubious types of people in the world.
They're just friendly, dude. They're so
Yeah, they're just I'm just going there.
Extremely friendly. Shout out to Rich Energy. Shout out to Rich Energy. I'm just saying, does in this sport the 24-year-old champion roll the dice on his 80-year-old mentor? I'm just asking. I'm being blunt here. Is that in any sport?
Have we not seen 50 Hollywood films that are like this?
But I have not seen a single European one. In the European, very pragmatic, those movies are
way too pragmatic. Yeah.
It would end
Especially
with Marco
Dutch
on a beach alone, black and white. Okay, there would be. I'm just saying, is that?
See, I mean, so I think the parallel to draw where so Marco and Dietrich, obviously, these are the two guys that pretty much started Red Bull, got Red Bull as a brand overall to where it is right now. And I mean, without naming names, there have been many companies like this where Rohan, you and me intimately have worked with one such company where there were two leading people who started this company. And it was everything was going fantastically well, and they had signed all the best people and the best staff and everybody. And suddenly these two people left, and that company went completely to shit. And even the best people, the best drivers that they had, started leaving one by one. So
Yes,
Wow.
Yes,
it happens.
It happens. It's true. It happens.
It happens.
All the time. Once in a way, it happens. It's true.
But it's an opportunity to develop a James Vowles, from these ashes. One James Vowles will come and he will, do his own thing and
So
Gosh,
the race,
I mean,
guys.
Yeah, race. I mean, the race again. I think this season is going to force us to make F1 TV bro in our own minds.
100%.
We're going to have that muscle memory where we're like, okay, cool. Where the intent is the battle for P10.
My grid started from Magnussen.
Or nothing.
My grid started
exactly.
From
Start from Magnussen.
Okay. That is where my grid started.
Yeah. And you're looking for, like, I feel like that's where F1, from an entertainment standpoint, is at its best, right? When you have these 1000 IQ type of strategies that are going on, and like game drivers that are willing to try it at a very high speed circuit. My gosh, some of the cameras, there was one onboard shot of the Ferrari, which is like that over the shoulder wala shot,
Mm.
and it's a wide, and you're on board, and because the walls are so close and those advertising billboards are like, Emirates, like it's in a line, Qatar Airways or whatever the hell it was, and they go past so fast, it looks blindingly fast, like in this like insane sort of street circuit. So on a one lap, those onboards were looking really stunning. And even after the race, the drivers really spoke about how you couldn't really take your eye off the ball at all during this because it was like such a high pace thing. So those were the, I'd say, like interesting moments in the race, which really made you feel also that like the sport has that vigor in it, apart from the race for the lead, which we shall not mention at all.
No, should not
Yeah.
be mentioned.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like in the last few years, this has been the most boring opening two races, right? Like in the last few years. I mean, we
Yeah.
still had the Ferraris challenging earlier
Yeah.
and stuff like that. This is just seeming like
In fact,
Yeah. Even in
I was
the
thi-
Mercedes dominance days, I think they would start with at least both the Mercedes racing each
yeah,
other.
that's what
you
I'm
know?
saying.
Yeah. Both the
Something is
Mercedes are
happening. Like here, the first race
Yeah.
was like literally
Yeah.
such a dart
Yeah.
that I was playing
Yeah.
Candy Crush while I was watching the race. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, I can't believe this is what it's come to.
Yeah,
Like,
these races are over at turn one. Like really,
like
like the
nothing was happening.
Yeah. By the time it
Yeah.
says DRS enabled, 1.8 seconds
It's
ahead.
like, yeah,
Max Verstappen
Dude,
of
I think
everybody. Tum log khelo DRS.
Yeah,
Hey, gaya.
at this point they're going to have to start enabling DRS from formation lap. You know,
Yeah, really.
Had Bearman,
From the
and
start.
there were some like new,
Yeah.
things to look forward to, but
Yeah.
or this Lando no penalty, which was again shocking. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that, guys? Like,
Very
I
quickly
mean,
before we get to that, Sherry, I just want to very quickly do some super chats, okay?
yes.
Vatsal says Max the type of guy to go to a mid team to win for fun. Utkarsh says Lewis giving proper notice period performance. Shubham says Mr. Latifi is going to be my senior this year in college. Do you
Oh,
want
nice.
me to take any of your questions to him? I will try to get answers, says Shubham. Shubham, we will definitely try to do this. Sharwar also says, yaar, Lewis ko kya ho gaya itne piche kaise? And Utkarsh also says, just want to say Shitcardo is washed. Cool.
Oh my God.
Good commentary. But yes, sorry, you were saying Bearman and other things.
And Norris. I think the two most exciting things in this situation. Let's start with maybe the Norris jump start. Thoughts on that? I mean, because
I thought it was jump start.
thought it was a jump start, and I can't believe that they're like, okay, technology didn't say so, so there's nothing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it looked pretty obvious that it was a jump start. Like for once, like the Tattletale George was correct with his.
Yeah.
Tattletale George.
Yeah, he's doing his
Such
clutch
a
start. Everything.
tattletale,
He's like, hey,
dude.
Norris jump start.
It's
Really
true.
looked like it was jump start. Like even
Yeah,
just from
yeah,
watching the
for
regular
sure.
start,
Yeah.
I was like,
Same,
this is
yeah,
jump
yeah.
start.
Jump start, yeah. Totally. And I mean, I've never seen it happen before as well. Like these are typically like one of those like slam dunk type of sort of things. Here it was this thing, but at the end of the day, also it actually put him at a disadvantage that he came to a stop and then like almost got swallowed up by everyone. But yeah, rules are rules. Yeah.
Should have
But
been.
I think like, yeah, obviously the story of the race is Ollie Bearman, and
Yeah.
what a kid. I mean, I followed the F2 also this weekend because Kush had a
Yeah.
really
Good
good
second.
Me too.
race. Like he qualified P2 for the feature, and Ollie Bearman was P1. Now the kid made it.
Yep.
What a graduation! Like, can you imagine what were we all doing at the age of 18? What like
I was on front row
Eight-
of grid in F1 2008.
I was
The game.
watching Ferrari
Yeah.
car race.
Yeah.
We were watching a
Yeah.
season that was actually competitive.
Yes.
That's what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gosh, like I mean, these kids come in so well prepared, right?
Yeah.
Like, holy
It's
smokes!
insane to just get dropped into that car with
That
next
car,
to no
yeah.
time. and then do
Yeah.
also credit that means to the car this year genuinely also, right? Given that you can essentially drop somebody into it and they can,
Yeah.
I mean, credit to Ferrari where it's due.
Yeah.
They've built a car that, you know, he could absolutely take all the way
Yeah.
sort of to the end, and then full on credit to him, man. What a
Dude, he
and
had
18,
one
dude.
FP session. Yeah.
Yeah.
18, he had
What
one free
nonsense.
practice session.
And he
The
had to
shortest
battle
one,
quite
yeah.
a bit, like in the
Yeah.
midfield, starting out and stuff, which
Yeah.
he did a great job.
There is an
Amazing.
entire Yuki Tsunoda between me and Ollie Bearman.
Yeah. You know, when Liam Lawson filled in for
Yeah.
Danny Rick
Yeah.
at Zandvoort, that was also on a day's notice. Like this day's notice
Yeah.
kind of stuff, like really brings up, they don't have time to think. They don't really have time to process it. So it's then
Yeah.
pure instinct and training, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And gosh, they are so ready. Like this kid, like he made that really nice move on Sonoda. That was quite cool. Almost you're kind of selling him a dummy and then like went on
Yeah.
the inside. That was quite slick. At the end of the race, keeping like with the pressure coming from Norris and
Yeah.
Hamilton.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
wow,
it's
these guys
testament
are.
to
Yeah.
his fitness. One, also just the fact that to come in Saudi Arabia where the Gs are so high, like literally the effect that it has on your neck, where a lot of the drivers are talking about this as well.
Yeah.
That is one of the hardest tracks on your neck because of just every turn, apart from like I think 2 turns are just full on flat out high speed.
Flat out. Yeah.
And also
if you go
testament-
online, there's actually a shot of the side of his headrest basically, and it's crumpled in entirely on one side. Yeah. It's crumpled in on one side. If you go online, there is a photograph from yesterday where his headrest is completely dunked in on one side.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that, the fitness, and also just testament to how good the simulators and stuff are that they run, that they're able to also get a feel for the car and just jump in and
So
make
quickly,
that
man.
F2 to F1. Like even in the F1 game, if you do an F2 race
Dude,
to an F1
yeah.
race, like it takes you a while to get,
Well,
oh shit,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
in F1 again. It takes a while to just adjust to that. And the way these guys can do it is just like, because you have to adjust
At
not just
18,
your
dude.
you have to adjust how you shift, you have to adjust your braking points, and it's not like, you know, I'm used to braking at like 120 meters in the F2 car, and now suddenly I'm braking, but I still use the old braking point in this car. No, they're just on it.
Everything, dude. F2, they don't have tire warmers. In
Yeah.
F1, they have
yeah.
tire, like little things, like so many, like 500 things you would have had to pick up like overnight.
Yeah, like clutch,
is-
like they use apparently 2 clutch
Yeah.
pedals in F2.
Yeah,
Here they
yeah.
have to use a single one. So many, and there's no battery management in F2. That's another
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Learn that entire thing.
Yeah.
Deploying DRS, learning the entire
Crazy.
new like the Ferrari the steering wheel and all the
And
functions.
doing it for Ferrari. That's the other thing. Like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe if this kid had shown up as the
Yeah.
replacement for Magnussen or Hülkenberg or somebody in a lower
Yeah.
team or whatever, you'd be like, okay, cool. There's not that much
Yeah.
of like spotlight also on him. He is in the most famous team
Yeah.
of Formula One at 18. He took it like a pro. Damn good.
Oof.
Yeah, really, really good to see. I hope, like, you know, there are these, anything can happen in F1, right? Like, we've seen
Oh,
it
yeah.
now, like, in terms of the driver market and everything.
Yeah.
What last year, no F2 drivers graduated to F1,
Yeah.
right?
I think
What if-
next year that's not happening.
Nope.
maybe it's not happening, but what if the last lap of Saudi was the last lap of F1 that Ollie Bearman ever drove?
Yeah.
What
It's
if
quite
there is a
possible.
0.5% possibility of some weird shit like that also sort of happening, you know, like
Then
Although
maybe
I
he just
did
went in
research
there
it,
going,
that
I
is a
don't know if
billionaire,
I'll
guys.
get to do
It's
this
fine,
again.
it's
No,
fine.
it's not about that. It's
That's-
like, I don't know if I'll get to do this again or not.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm just going to have the best time, right? Is another
Yeah, yeah.
mindset was like,
Also, I mean,
Yeah.
for all these young drivers, it's like an audition. It's the best way
Yeah,
to
yeah,
kind of
for
put yourself
sure.
out there. And I mean, like the amount of praise he's got, Liam Lawson. Now,
Yeah.
if someone were to have a seat and they were looking at younger talent, 100% you would first look at these two because you've seen them in an
Yeah.
F1 car and what they've done, right? So, I mean, you could clearly see, like even with Liam, how he felt he deserved that seat after this, right? Like he was so disappointed and he was like, I can't understand why like
Yeah.
I've done better than these people. Why am I not getting this seat, you know?
Yeah, there are
So-
lots of drivers, I think, for next season who literally, I think they should just be booted out, yeah, and get these new guys in. This Bottas kya sarkari naukri kar rahi hai at Sauber? What is this fucking token 16th place in every race? Get him out. What is this? BM,
My
BMC,
unpopular opinion is there's no
BMC
space for
Bottas.
Danny Rick on the grid.
Same, dude. I feel
Oh
so
my
bad
God.
about my shit
Yeah.
prediction from the first episode. I was like, my God.
Yeah,
The
you
worst
piggybacked
prediction
on my
possible.
prediction and it's not
Yeah.
working out for
The
either of us,
worst.
Azim.
Gosh.
The worst.
Yeah.
Like, how do you justify that? Yeah, when there's guys like Liam Lawson and this guy waiting in the wings, like to just at
Yeah.
least have
Plus, I
some
also
work.
have a feeling like, so at the start of the season, Fernando Alonso was all like, look, this is like, I'm going to, because there's all these questions, is he going to remain in F1 and everything and everything. And Bahrain Grand Prix was, this time was the 20th race, right? And the only driver that was
Yeah.
there when the race started was Fernando Alonso. And the whole time he is being constantly, that weekend was constantly reminded of how old he is. Okay. Like people are asking him this question only 20 years ago you were there. Now what is the difference and everything? But he was still remaining very positive. Okay. And he qualified like I think sixth or something like a fifth or sixth. He qualified quite high up as well in the Bahrain qualifying. And I was still like, okay, yeah, shit, he looks like he has it and everything. But by lap 3, he was being overtaken by Lando Norris. Lap 7, he got overtaken by Oscar Piastri. About 3 laps later, he got overtaken by Lewis Hamilton. And it was about that time, I feel like he also decided, okay, this is my last season. Yeah. How much of Alonso can I be right now? How much will I wring the neck out of this situation? Like he did in Saudi. Like he pulled an Alonso. Like the car was not there clearly, but he pulled an Alonso and like he was ahead of the Mercedes and everything. But I also feel like we are probably seeing the last season of Fernando Alonso.
No, I think he'll probably go like maybe manage somewhere to get like one win and then call it a day and be like,
I
chalo,
don't
ho
think
gaya.
so, guys. I think you're
Even if he makes a podium.
underestimating your favorite big time. He's putting out feelers of like, oh, I would be Mercedes' first choice and all. I don't think he's anywhere near like I'm going. He's like, chalo, mujhe ye gaadi se nikalo.
I'm seeing all these signs. I'm micro-analyzing everything he is
I
saying.
am going to
doing it.
micro-analyze him more and say that it honestly really just depends on the sort of week he's having.
Yeah, exactly.
What I have
like
learned,
week to week.
this is
No,
a
and also-
guy who has gone from this is a lovely car to drive to oh my god, what have we done?
What a shit.
Yeah. I really think like tomorrow if he takes P1, no, his next it will be like, I can be here for many, many years.
No, it's because
but Fernando is forever.
it's because Taylor Swift is touring and also right now. No, little
Of
lonely and
course,
all.
But also he's seeming very calm this season so far. Like he's not
Acceptance is the final stage of
exactly.
you know what I mean? Like we haven't gotten any big remarks.
It's the longest season in the history of the sport. I would imagine we are not
he's pacing
too far
himself.
away. Yeah,
We're getting there.
He's currently pacing himself.
I mean, other than the only thing masaledar was the remarks about Lewis moving to Ferrari. Uske baad he's been very seedha.
Yeah.
I would also like
I also
to
feel
take... Sorry, go for it.
Sorry, go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
I was going to say very silly. Go for it.
So I was also like one thing that I observed. Okay, like we went into this whole new regulations and cost cap with the thing that like the teams are getting to the intent is to get the performance close enough, right? So the cars are able to race closer. Can I just do a thumbs up?
Yes, you did again. Yes.
How the hell do I turn this off?
I don't know.
Anyway, yeah. So the intent of the new aero regulations and the cost cap is over time, hopefully the teams will get closer together, performance will increase and racing will be closer. You won't have predictable races anymore, right? But don't you guys feel like between last year and this year, even though the rule changes have remained stable, the field actually feels way more spread.
Yeah.
In that, like, Red Bull is clearly ahead. Then Ferrari is clearly ahead of, say, McLaren and Mercedes. And maybe at the bottom of that is an Aston. But then everybody else, there's another big gap to everybody else.
There's these little silos. There's these little sort of silo races happening. Like these two separate DRS trains happening at different corners.
Over one lap, it seems way closer. Over one lap, when you look at the quali car timing, you're like, oh shit, this is actually pretty close. But when it plays out in the race, it's like, holy smokes, it's like.
Hey, Arjun, sorry, chat is being your pit wall here, and Jaiteen says, ऊपर green video icon पर click करो and reaction से turn off कर सकते हो.
Very nice. We are checking.
We are checking. This is it.
Okay, good job. Who was that?
This was Jai-teen1234. Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
Arjun S. Ravi is now free to do thumbs up without judgment. Be safe, be free, son.
Yeah, but don't you guys feel like the field has spread even more? Even though
Yeah.
like we had 1 year of consistent rules and everything, like maybe it will bunch up as the season progresses and the, aero gains or whatever start equalizing.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I think they should just fully change the regulations every year. Just
every
switch it
year,
up.
I
every
agree.
year.
This year 3 wheels. Chalo,
I think
banao.
it's
And we
almost
tell you
become
before the race
so
which team.
pointless otherwise the whole season. Or half the season we are waiting for some upgrade or something to happen,
Yeah.
and then like just thakela marela watching because you're like, okay.
I think we need to introduce this is
You
the
can't
solution.
not Thakela Marela. Their names are Ocon and Gasly. Okay? They have names. They have names.
No, I think there needs to be for this season what we can do, and this is my proposal to FI. So
Okay.
while many teams are themselves allowed to bring upgrades, a team should be able to collectively go to a team and bring downgrades.
Oh.
You identify a team that you collectively want to downgrade, and you take
Right.
some of their upgrades away. I think this will work.
You
Yes.
demonetize their channel.
Yes.
You demonetize.
No, you know how games have mods, right?
Yeah.
Where you can turn on and off specific settings, right? So I think you should be allowed to like basically go and every one person from each team, okay? So 9 other people are allowed to go and just touch your car once for 4 seconds. Okay? Like no implements, no nothing, but they can touch your car once for 4 seconds, okay? Before the race starts. What they do?
Or touch your phone for 4 seconds.
I think culture are going to see Christian Horner in the paddock with a Nokia 3350 only.
The thing is that Helmut Marko will actually know how to use that. Like, bro,
DHL fastest
मेरा
tap.
snake का highest score देखा है क्या?
Everyone knows that second call that Graham Bell made was to Helmut Marko.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be like overtly like sort of doomy about the season of like, but I think that it will get closer. But we are,
No, won't.
the European season is
Arjun.
also far away. Like typically everybody says like when we get back to Europe, that's when the big upgrades. But now because the way of the season is sort of played out as well, I think they come to Europe like 5 races in or 6 races in, and by that time, if you're looking at the results right now, extrapolate that this championship gets over very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So,
But also, I would say that both Bahrain and Saudi are slightly like outlierish tracks in terms of both very, very high speed tracks, mostly high speed sections, except like 1 or 2 hairpins. So, maybe a track like Australia, we're probably going to see, like, for instance, like how like Lando was just lightning through sector 1. A lot of Australia is
high speed
those
corners,
kind of like really high speed fast corners. So potentially, but dude, also like on the topic of McLaren, what is that DRS of theirs?
Yeah, it's
where
awful.
The car
It's
becomes
awful.
slower with the DRS.
It's just there were times where like it became like a meme. Okay, they just kept cutting to Oscar and Hamilton at that corner. Okay, and it just at some point, dude.
I think he was stuck for 20-something laps behind him.
At one point,
and then he didn't really get to overtake him.
Hamilton pranked him twice by letting him overtake off the track. And it literally was like a prank. Okay, like I could almost imagine Hamilton laughing. He's like, okay, I'm also bored now. He's also bored now. I
was glad that Hamilton didn't.
Oscar tweeted saying, rear-wing expert, Mercedes rear-wing expert.
Now,
but great race.
I was glad to see that Hamilton didn't really like. Obviously, they had like a disadvantage down the straight and everything, but Hamilton didn't really give that position up very easily at all. Like he made it quite tough, and he was always in it. I wish he was more aggressive on the Lando Norris bit. He had tried the undercut on Lando Norris, and then when they both pitted right at the end for those softs. I like this season is going to like. Both races so far, Russell has really outperformed Hamilton in this car, and I really want to see one of those races, one of those like classic Hamilton races now, where like of course he doesn't have the best performing car, but show me that dog. Show me that guy still like has those chops, and that little moment with Piastri, those 20 laps or so, where he kept him behind. That was quite nice. But I feel like he really needs to like turn it up now.
Also,
Hamilton as well.
Mercedes needs to turn it up because again, let's be clear, very early,
For
only
sure.
2 races. But right now, McLaren is ahead of them in the Constructors' Championship. Not saying a lot, 2 races in, and still points, it's not a lot. But that essentially means that it's a smidge consistently better car. Which is really not a position Mercedes are used to. It's like, okay, chal, it's us versus Ferrari is one thing. But now McLaren also sort of genuinely throwing their hat in there. Again, it's only been 2
Piastri had a great race.
Yeah, he really did. And
he went before.
No, even Lando, credit where it's due. He, jumpstart or whatever, he still, he did well with those tires. All things considered, he did really well with those tires, like nursing them until couldn't anymore, really. But good freaking job by both of them.
If a safety car had happened, they both look like legends right now.
Yeah, full on.
Yeah.
So one of the things I was actually thinking about was that this season is
That's the question to ask Latifi. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, So I was actually thinking about this. So like, as you mentioned, the quali spread, pretty much the entire, like say top 17 were like within a second, you could say. But in the race, they're all struggling. And I think one of the factors which maybe a lot of them have not accounted for this season is dirty air is back this season. Which was not so much of a factor last season, where the entire point of like ground effect cars, everything was that you can follow more easily. But now you could see that all the cars that were following closely were really struggling. Like for instance, even Alonso only managed to get his pace and start matching the McLarens and the Mercedes and the Ferraris and keeping that gap when he had like 5 seconds of clean air in front of him. Similarly, I think you saw Norris was able to keep Verstappen behind for a fair amount of time after the safety car restart, purely because he was giving Verstappen that dirty air through sector 1. So maybe I think aero is going to play like a huge factor this season. And again, probably another reason why
Red Bull had somebody like really good at aero.
Exactly. But shows you why Alpine are so shit, because their head of aero is gone. We don't have aero, we don't have gearbox. What has gone wrong with that? Wasn't it bought by Ryan Reynolds and all?
Investor.
The most successful Alpine athlete in Saudi was Anthony Joshua, the boxer. Who knocked out Francis Ngannou, who's also co-owner of the team. Like, what the hell, man? Like, what has happened? Like, there's an utter collapse, and the reason we all feel so bad is because we also know that the quality of drivers that we're talking about is like...
I would like to point out that Pierre Gasly is currently 21st in a 20-driver championship. As things stand, we were joking about Logan Sargent doing all of that, but as things stand in the current drive, I'm looking at it right now, he's 21st.
Man. That's crazy.
Alpine, there you go. It's someone in chat says, Shantanu says, Alpine has embodied the sentiment Alpine.
From
L plan to Alpine. Which actually sounds like Middle Eastern bread.
But I feel so bad for Gasly. That poor guy has just not been able to hack it. Like, I mean, wherever he goes, somehow he's like, now this is it, and this is going to be amazing. And then again, the team is like a disaster. And I mean,
he's usually overperformed the car in most places where he goes. Like, he would always...
I think the team has always been a bit of a letdown, like in terms of he's not been in one of the most competitive cars.
My theory is that this is all a long game from Alpine to like, we will make Ocon and Gasly best friends. Like, if we give them something common to unite against, okay? There's a degree of pain where Karan and Arjun will have to overcome.
So I think they're actually a Bollywood movie that's being made, and we don't know about
that way.
Yes, and because because the Bollywood movie, they even take longer to finish the race than others.
So what you will actually see happening now that they're best friends and teammates, to overcome the lack of straight line speed, they will be both pushing each other. You know how that rickshaw driver pushes one with the leg? One with his leg out.
Kaho na Pierre hai.
हम आपके हैं Ocon.
Yeah, man. Wow. Very disappointing for both those drivers, given the quality of drivers on display. Like, I'm glad to see Williams really fighting around, but I think we should spend a little bit of time right now, guys, to talk about Kevin Magnussen and
The
Nico
Hasta
Hülkenberg.
plan.
The Hasta plan, dude.
It is definitely the team that is outperforming itself
100%.
once again.
100%.
Gunther Steiner is not there anymore.
Yep.
Okay. So they don't have that entertainment value. But who needs entertainment value when you have Kevin Magnussen?
Just
Who
brilliant.
with 20 seconds of compounded penalties, guys. Just
This is
let's realize.
No, hang on.
This level of trolling.
No, he died for their sins, dude. He really
Yeah.
was like, screw it, I'll eat it all.
Dude,
Win it
this is
on
two
me.
drivers. First driver is playing F1. This guy is playing Need for Speed at the back. इसको दीवार में डाल दिया. इसको just
And
what?
then as soon as Hulkenberg pit, after that he's like, oh, what was I going too slow?
Like,
And
oh,
he's just
why
like,
didn't you guys tell me? Oh,
oh, damn. I don't know.
And best part is he had the pace to
Yeah.
Yeah,
them
yeah,
behind.
exactly.
And
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
dirty
yeah,
air,
exactly.
huge
Dirty
issue
air,
again.
Yeah. And how far has the suck my balls mate relationship
Yeah.
traveled?
yes.
Where this level of self-sacrifice Nico
Yes.
Hulkenberg is
If
receiving
anything, it should have been somebody else sucking somebody else's balls
from.
last night after the race finished, if I dare say so.
Yeah, like
Alpine
this
needs
was.
to take a leaf out of the Haas book. Look how close these two teammates have become. You know?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they've given them all the right circumstances. They've sacked the team principal.
CEO,
They've
yeah,
done
exactly.
everything.
Yeah.
It's a shit car.
Yeah.
Now go
Yeah.
become best friends.
Best friends, yeah.
Just incredible. Truly
That was-
incredible.
Yeah. Should we re-tag Minister of Defense? Is he the new? Does Denmark have a strong army? I don't know.
Ooh, you know what? On the basis of one, on the basis of, I don't know if
Basis
he's
of
going to be
one?
minister yet.
So of
But,
defense.
I
Okay.
definitely think
General Secretary or no,
Yeah,
whatever.
generally,
Under
he's like,
Secretary.
currently
Yeah.
special consultant of defense.
Defense. Yeah.
Special
Listen, it's
consultant.
one good race they've had in 20 seasons. Okay, I am willing to go with intern of defense to start with.
Intern of defense, yeah. Got to start at the bottom. Intern of
Yeah,
defense. is
intern of
accurate,
defense.
I think.
Yeah.
Then you can
But
go
they're
up to
definitely
Checo.
outperforming because like all the stories that we heard through the winter was
Yeah.
they've not touched the car since last year. It's the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
bloody
yeah.
car. They've not been able to invest that much in this thing. And obviously, Gene Haas is like a penny pincher. He's not willing to put the money in or whatever, which is what Gunther wanted. But somehow,
Brothers, they
the
are
car-
currently 6th, okay?
yeah,
I'm just saying they are
Yeah,
6th in
man.
Constructors' Championship.
yeah, exactly.
Okay?
So they're definitely outperforming, and as drivers as well, maybe Nico Hulkenberg and Kevin Magnussen also maybe they have a feel for these ground effect cars a little bit. Like you could see, like even K-Mag when he was slow, he was like really slow, but when he needed to get on the pace, he was totally on the pace. Like
Yeah.
immediately, the next lap. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What? Slow? Yeah. I saw it on the live time. He was like 36.6 sector 1.
Yeah.
He's been doing throughout 2-3 seconds slower than everyone else. As soon as Hulkenberg comes out, 34.3 sector
Yeah.
1. Casual 2.5 seconds faster.
Just गाड़ी रिजर्व पर डाला था बस
Yeah.
थोड़ी देर के लिए
Yeah, but actually, like really smart. Just the point, what he was doing was there because he was lifting off through that
Yeah.
entire sector 1, his battery was getting charged for him to
Charged.
deploy it for the rest of the lap. And the overtake on Sonoda was fab. He did not have a prayer of keeping that. How has he managed
No.
that?
Yeah.
वो cheating किया है, dude.
Yeah. Have you guys seen that?
He
that
basically
old game?
yesterday
really
ma-
been proving he deserves this seat. Like he's really like
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
in there, and I mean, like suddenly you're like, okay, where has this
Beast come
Yuki
from?
jagoed from and appeared? Where he's like that lazy, I didn't want to work out. Yuki has gone clearly.
again credit to him after given again the first race, right? Like Daniel
Yeah.
was on his ass and he was all like, oh, do I need to say anything? They should give me back the place. If after a weekend like that, two drivers have to come back and make their case, it like Yuki definitively made like
Yeah.
the stronger case over there, right? Between the two of them.
Yeah.
Versus Danny Rick. So yeah, good on him.
But he's really, I feel this season, you can see that he's determined to kind of get somewhere. Like, he's not just like, oh yeah, I'm just here, I'm just racing. Like,
Because he
there
knows
is that-
there's a seat going to be available now.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
potentially 2 seats at this
Yeah,
point
And
in Red
also
Bull.
the question mark of does he deserve to be there or should he?
And yeah, especially that because like the AlphaTauri seat is nobody's long-term seat.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
like the RB seat or whatever is not nobody's long-term seat. You're there for summer internship till somebody picks you up, you know, like, and if that's Red Bull, great. But if you're an Albon, then you go to Williams or whatever. You have to find some seat somewhere after a limited period of time. Like this is Yuki's third year at RB, or the team now known as RB.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he really needs to level up for sure. But clearly, I mean, there were some joke like that when he lost it out of turn one, all by himself.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit, there's some uncle level driving, like in the sense of like, oh damn,
Yeah.
that didn't seem
Like he
like
seems to have
Yeah.
lost whatever zeal he had last year of coming back. That whole,
Yeah.
like I'm back, and that whole determination.
He was already
of-
talking about like,
Yeah.
I need to get my head around this car
Like-
and all that.
Of all of them, I think Perez and Yuki have really kind of been like, we're going
Yeah,
to
Full
come
on. Full on.
this
Full on.
done
They've
and
done their
we're going-
homework. They've done their
Yeah.
homework and they've come. They've showed up prepared. Full on.
Yeah.
All right.
What
I think
else
that's it.
was
Are there any
there?
other specific subplots that we need to
Just-
cover? I'm looking at the teams. We talked about Alpine.
Yeah, I just feel bad for Williams because in the entire Haster class, they're like Albon was the guy who got screwed
Yeah,
completely. Uska
fully.
ek wing tod diya and then just kept
Yeah,
him behind
like just
40 seconds. But yeah,
Wrecking
because otherwise
ball
I think
Magnussen.
easily he could have got that place. But
P10. But that's the other thing. Like, you know, it's only because Stroll had that moment where he went into the wall. Otherwise, the
Stroll,
top
bro.
10 positions are kind of
Yeah,
given
yeah.
now. Like,
Oh yeah,
because of
that is one
that
last
gap.
shout out that I want to do. That was easily comms of the day. When they're like, Lance, can you bring the car back?
No,
I was
I'm
like,
like,
no, I fucking can't. What do you mean bring the car back? Brother, what? Are you listening? I'm in the wall.
Yeah. My dad's
Yeah.
not that wealthy
Yeah.
that he can turn
Can you
back
bring
time.
the car?
Yeah.
First time even Lance. What?
No, but I loved the shot of it happening because they're tracking the battle between Bearman and who was it? I think Magnussen or whoever he was battling with. Sonoda, I think.
Yeah.
And he was just over there. Bearman had just got him set up for that final.
I think it
lead.
was like straight on.
And
Yeah.
then just
It was like,
as like one,
yeah.
in one aside, one background in a comedy sketch where a guy just goes and bangs into
Yeah,
the
yeah.
wall. That's Lance Stroll right there. Oh, I don't know. He has like reasonable. Like the thing is, he puts in those few laps here and there. Lance Stroll, where like, oh, okay, FP2 suddenly now faster than everybody else.
No,
Then
he has
disappears
flashes. He
for,
has
like-
flashes.
He has good days. Like there sometimes he races well, and then we're like, oh wow, like when he broke his hand and all that. Remember?
Yeah,
Where we were all like, wow.
I think that's the secret. He has to have
Yes.
broken
We have
hands.
to have
Yes.
sympathy race,
Broken.
basically.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is
To
the
break
secret.
some.
That is the learning here.
Needs an extra screw somewhere every race.
That's the thing. After this race, now Lawrence Stroll asks him to put his hands out
Before every race.
before
Yeah.
every race,
Before
and then
every
he does.
race.
Then to console him, just strokes his ear,
Just stroke his
hair
ear.
behind his ear.
Yeah.
Next episode, I'm going to
That's
show
how they
that
do it,
video.
though.
I'm going to show
But
that
it's
video
how they
next
do it.
episode.
How fast these guys are recovering like these days. Like even Sainz in the like he was there like just
Yeah,
after
yeah.
surgery. It's
But
like
he had appendicitis. That too.
yeah, but
like,
I mean just to
yeah,
even
so-
be present
yeah.
is what I
Brother,
mean. Like,
I
Yeah.
would not be present. Okay, is all
Yeah.
I'm saying. I would not
I
be
mean,
present.
it's like I'm like, wow, okay, did he just not have surgery yesterday? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's expected to be back for Australia now, no? Australia is also.
Yes.
I've lost track of
Yes.
what the schedule is. So
weeks from
Australia
now.
is
In 2
weeks.
weeks. In 2
2 weeks, 2
weeks.
weeks.
Yeah.
Very nice. Oh, 2 weeks.
Yeah,
24th.
2
Very
weeks.
nice. Oh, and back
Yeah.
to Sunday races for
Yes.
finally.
Yeah.
Yes.
And back to regular champagne. Why still I can't? Why they can't put any fizzy liquid in the bottle?
Like
Just
Mountain Dew or
Friends,
something.
No
Nimbu
fizzy
pani.
drinks today.
Dar ke aage jeeta.
Just put Red Bull. It will do the
Yeah,
job.
just do the job. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, all the drivers are Red Bull anyway who are going on the podium.
I think just before we end off, like the more guys should be watching F2. Okay, like this season, F2 has a
Yes.
very high caliber of drivers across the field,
Yes.
and the
And you
quality
all
of
have
racing
one
is great.
person to support at the sharp end of the
Yes,
field as well.
exactly.
At the sharp end of the field, Kushmaini doing a great job. His feature race in Saudi was really good. His car, hopefully he'll get to grips with the car. It's also a long season. I think it's like 14 races of F2 as well. So
Yeah, looking
lot
good.
to watch.
Looking good.
Yeah.
So, and the quality of the drivers across the field is really, really. It's got that Kimi Antonelli kid who's
Yeah.
like just drove a couple of his races, Richard Verschoor, Isaac Hadjar, Dennis Hauger, like some top quality. This thing, Ollie Bearman,
Oh yeah,
the
he'll be back
heady,
there.
he'll be back in F2 as well. So good to keep an eye out on that. And also, motorheads will be interested to follow the MotoGP season, which is also kicked off this weekend with the Qatar Grand Prix. So,
Yes, and also
some
just
some
one.
engines going around circuit somewhere,
Yes,
guys.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
somewhere.
There's always
You
a
can-
car going around a circuit somewhere.
Circuit
A
somewhere.
vehicle going around a circuit somewhere.
And even though I'm not taking part this season, the boys from Indian racing community are doing the India's F1 league again. So
Oh.
tier 1, tier 2 races are happening. I think tier 1 is on Saturdays, tier 2 is on Sundays. So unko bhi jaake support karo, bechare. They put a lot of effort into those streams. So
Must.
check it out.
Must. Anything else? Anybody have any announcements? Anybody have tickets on sale?
Oh yes,
Anything? Yes.
yeah. I mean, only one major is that Australia tour. So 6th April in Sydney with Anirban and me. 8th to 21st April at Melbourne Comedy Festival, and 24th in Auckland. And after that, I'm done with life.
Fantastic.
With life.
Okay, wow. Okay.
Life.
Cool. You heard it here first, guys. You heard it here first.
Azim,
Let's
do you
hope
want
we
to talk
don't
after
come
this?
back. Yeah, man.
We should-
Yeah, man. I don't want to enter my
Him
YouTube
coming back
channel
next
as
week
evidence.
Guys, I have a show
Yeah.
the following week. The following
yeah,
guys.
exactly.
Oh,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there will be no
I-
shows for like 3 months because I'm
I-
shifting
yeah.
and all to new cities. So I am.
I
enjoying.
have 15th of March. If you aren't doing anything, South Mumbai, I'm performing with Kenny Sebastian and a bunch of fun people at the Opera House in Mumbai.
Oh, nice.
And on the 22nd, Sahil Shah and I are performing, 22nd of March, that is. Sahil Shah and I are performing in Pune. So details for that are also on my Instagram page. So Mumbai and Pune people performances happen in this month.
I may as well plug only. So before I do the Melbourne, I'm doing like a bunch of preview shows, small shows to test out that material in Bombay, Bangalore this week, Delhi the week after that, and Mumbai the week after that. So all weekdays I'll be in different cities.
Fantastic.
So you can come and check it out.
Alrighty. On that note, we have come to the end of this stream, this sidest of pods. We will see you 2 weeks
Yes.
from now to discuss hopefully a less predictable Australian Grand Prix.
Yes.
Until then, friends,
Or
have a good
everything else that's
weekend.
going on off track.
Or everything else
yeah,
that's
who knows?
going on off track. Who knows, friends? Please have a good weekend. Drive safe and lock your phones. Okay.
Oh wait, are there any super chats left to read?
Are there? Let me check. Are there? Where?
Oh, there was only one. There's Ashwin said, "Who love you all. Fan code or F1 TV Pro, your choice."
F1 Pro.
F1
Sketchy
TV Pro
Reddit
is-
links. No.
No, so I mean, both have pros and cons. Fan code, if you're just on a budget and you just want to be able to watch everything, is great. F1 TV Pro, if you want to pay extra for all the individual cameras and choice of commentary and telemetry and all of that, you can do that. But fan code has the Sky Sports commentary, so a lot of people keep asking that. But
Yes.
it has Crofty and Brundle and all those people.
Amazing. Okay, there we go. With that last piece of consumer advice, we come to the end of this episode. Thank you, friends, for watching. Thank you, Azim, Arjun, and Sherry. And I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Bye.